SusanClaire here, GourmetQuilter. Just talking a little bit about Welcome to My World, the block of the month that we're running at the moment. And we're up to part 5, so exciting. This is the quilt behind me, I'm sure you know all about it by now. This is the block that we're working on, this is the castle this time. And it's so much fun, it's a fairly straightforward block. So this is the block down here, if I can just hold this quilt to get it up to show you. So what we've got going on here is we've got a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, as everybody knows is what happens. We've got the castle, we've got a little cat in the window, we've got a flag on top, we've even got a little sneaky mouse in there. There are some pieces along underneath, sitting on top of the water. We'll be putting those on later. So this time we're just doing the castle, we're not doing this footpath here either. They will come on at a later stage because they're over the joins of the blocks. So I've got my blocks started here, or actually well and truly underway. So we're doing quite well. I've done all my rainbow. You know how to do all the positioning. You know how to do the applique stitching now. So I'm just going to show you a couple of small portions of it, which would be, there's some stitching on here that we've done that just indicates some sort of block work. There's some little applique blocks down here as well. There's a little bit here that I haven't stitched yet, so I thought I could just do a little bit of stitching to show you that, and then we'll just see what else we're doing after that. So I've got the machine all set up with, I'm doing free motion stitching here, and we will come in this way, I think. So what I've been doing is just coming in and going over it a second time. I've actually got to come down from up here because I haven't done this side of the tower yet. So I'll just do a couple of stitches to lock it, and then I can just come down and then when I get to a line where I want to come in and do the stitching, I often just go past a couple of stitches and then back, just so that I've got an actual line to come to. And because it's small, I can turn it. And then I'm going to come along that line there, and then I'm going to come back along the same line. But when I get to these little dividers between the blocks, I'm just going to come along and just go down to the end of that line and then back again, so that all this stitching is double stitching, so that it just stands out a little bit better than if it was single, if you're doing it the way I'm doing it. And then I'm up here again, back to that line, and then I'm going to come in and do this next line. It's quite a long one. Same thing, down to the next one, back again. It doesn't take very long, as you can see. One more line here. It's quite a long way across. So I've marked these lines just with a pencil so that I can see them, and I'm stitching over them so they're not going to show. You could use a water erasable marker, you could just do it completely free if you'd like to. And I'm just coming down to there. And so that's the stitching that I've just done. As you can see, I've done already some other stitching around the place. So I've done the door the same way with the lines on the door and the door handles. I did actually just go over the ring of the door handle with a black marking pen as well, because they weren't standing out quite enough. I've done some stitching on the roofs. They're all a little bit different. I've done, what else have I done that's a little bit interesting? I've done the flagpole, which was just a straight up and including the applique of the flag. And I've appliqued around the cat, and I've appliqued around the mouse and the tail, but I still need to pop their little faces on. So I'll get my marking pen out and do that. So on the flag, I've given it a little knob on top of the pole, And you could applique a little dot up there, you could leave it empty, you could do something quite different. I'm actually just going to colour mine in with the red marking pen. Just cheating, I suppose. Is it cheating if it's just getting it right? So that just gives it a little bit of a colour at the top there. And then with the little cat faces and the little mouse, they're really quite simple. It's marked on your pattern page, and there's measurements. It tells you in the pattern how far up we're coming with the pieces when we pop them on, so that we get them more or less in the right place. So with the little mouse here, he has just a little nose, and I am using the pen. You could use the embroidery, you could stitch it. I'm just colouring in his little nose here. He's got a little eye. And then he just has some little whiskers, and I just draw them out like that. It's very simple. If you're not too sure, on a piece of paper, you could do the same thing. You could just practice a little bit, a little eye, a nose, and 3 little whiskers, just so that you get the hang of what you're trying to do on the fabric, because it can be a little bit daunting, I know, going straight onto fabric. And the same thing with the cat. Now this could be tricky if I'm upside down, so I'm going to just turn it sideways a little bit. So the cat, so we'll just do a little practice here. So the cat just has 2 little eyes. Now, cat's eyes go something like that. His nose can be a little triangle perhaps, and 2 little bits for the mouth. I'm hoping you can see this. And then the same thing with just some little whiskers. So if you're not too sure about going straight onto the fabric, as I said, do a little practice on some paper. It helps hugely. It's just called training your brain to some degree at any rate. So I'm just going to go on here and so you don't want them too heavy. And then just some little whiskers. Or you may have some other way you like to do things, of course. This is your quilt. You don't have to do everything exactly as I'm doing. Individual is always good. So that's the castle. That's part 5 or block 5 of Welcome to My World, because it's such a happy place. And it is, because look at that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. We see a lot of rainbows here. I often look for that pot of gold. I'm still looking. It's going to be there somewhere. But thank you. That was part 5. I will see you again for part 6.